Hello, welcome to the first episode of 6X. It's a podcast for PUBG Mobile stuff. Whatever's going on in the world at the moment, that's what we're going to talk about. So yeah, I'm John Allen.
Hello, blank. Obviously, Xander. You probably know me more as that because James keeps calling me that from the desk, which is great. I'm taking on the mantle of Xander. But yeah, we're going to take a closer look at, as John says, stuff in the PUBG Mobile scene.
Oh, I'm Jason, by the way, in case Blank didn't want to let me say my name.
I just wanted to, get them tantalized for the rest of the podcast.
Tantalized. I mean, that's not what we're here for, because that's what our special guest is for. He's going to be coming on the show a little bit later on. We got a special man coming in from India. Yeah. All the way from India, here live in the hotel. No, he can't come here. Coronavirus. I know, he's really sad he can't be here in person. But we got Ocean join us a little bit later on today, which is going to be very exciting as he's going to talk about the overall tournament, help break down the East League as well, and then, of course, give us some shout-outs on his Instagram because we desperately need those followers.
Wow. Well, maybe you do, Jason. I don't know about the rest of us.
Hey, West sucks because they don't have anyone following on Instagram. It's all Twitter.
Me and John have been doing fine, really. We've been okay, growing, as the people like to say. But yeah, it's been fun. John, how you been finding Poland with the Corona times?
It's been alright. I mean, we've been pretty nicely isolated and looked after. So they've been very, very accommodating for everything. So it's been, quite frankly, very easy in terms of just the quality of life.
Do you know what I found the most hard out here? It's actually getting a haircut. Because
jeez.
Yes, that is true. How long did we walk around for?
We walked around for 2 hours.
2 hours, 8 different barbershops.
I'm pretty sure we checked out all the barbers.
I'm pretty sure.
In Katowice. And I actually ended up going the next day at 9 a.m. It's when all the barbershops opened. And I was turned away by 5 barbers until I actually got my haircut. And it was basically in a back alley somewhere. And she spoke no English whatsoever. I just had to show her pictures. And I ended up using Google Translate. She was very damaged, very bad hair.
All I'm going to say is that explains a lot.
Yeah, I know. The haircut's not great. I'm joking, she did a great job. I actually asked for it to come down the front and I had to salvage it. Anyway, this is not PUBG Mobile stuff whatsoever. No. But we're going to be talking basically about East, West, the World League in general. Because that's the main thing going on at the moment. Obviously, we had the PMPL leading up to this and all of the subsequent finals. But PMWL, that's the big thing right now.
Yeah, right now and then down the line, we'll be talking about other tournaments that come up, any big changes to the game, talking hopefully with some kind of managers of teams to kind of give you the behind the scenes look and what goes on when these teams aren't playing in tournaments, or even while they are playing in tournaments, to hear their regimes, how they boot camp, maybe some inner turmoil within teams as well. But that's all down the line in the future. Like Blink said, definitely trying to focus on the World League in particular right now because the finals is 3 days away, guys?
It's around the
corner. We're almost there. We've been here for almost a month now.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It felt like it's gone really quickly as well.
I nearly need a haircut again.
I think you need a haircut again, yeah. But I was saying to you just yesterday that we were halfway through the tournament.
Yeah, that was definitely yesterday.
Just yesterday. It did feel like that though. I specifically remember sitting down on the couch being we're about halfway through. It's no, we've got ages left.
At that point, we were before halfway through the tournament.
Oh, okay,
just to clarify, it wasn't actually yesterday.
No, yeah, I'm just making a poor joke. Just please.
Sorry, I'm sure.
Poor joke with a poor haircut. It makes sense. Let's
get the boy with a good haircut in. So,
maybe we should bring him in. Should we bring him in, John?
Yeah, I think we should bring him in.
I don't know. Has he been behaving well?
I think he has.
Has he been a good boy or a bad boy?
Whoa! He's smiling away. Yo, Ocean, how you doing, man?
I've been really good, and I've been a good boy. That's all that I know. But thank you for that introduction. But yeah, thank you for actually calling me on this podcast, and it's an honor to be the first guest of this podcast that I know only 20 people are going to see. But yeah, thank
you for that. Bro. That's big flame. It's fair flame, though, I reckon.
20, 20's a lot.
Yeah, no, we were expecting 4. And that's us.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to fit 20 people in this room, so I think we've done pretty well.
I think we could.
Hey, Corona times.
Corona that's
times.
True.
Yeah, no,
Ocean is
not 20
right.
people.
I'm saying, hypothetically, we could get 20 people in here. I'm not saying...
Yeah, we can.
We got laps, we got beds,
There's
we got
a physical
chairs.
space to do so.
Yeah.
We got a shower.
There's just not enough emotional room.
How's the broadcast been, man? What?
Anyway.
You say we've all got big noses?
I got a big nose.
Actually,
I've got a pretty big nose.
Big noses.
Well, moving on. So what's up?
Okay, so let's start discussing about the tournament, right? Because this is obviously really unique in the sense of this was going to be offline. This was going to be done here in Poland. Every team brought in. We were going to have everyone able to participate, create content, play their matches on the same ping. But due to obviously the global pandemic going on, not really possible to do so. But I will say this, really proud that PUBG Mobile did decide to make this happen, even if it's not in the best of circumstances, trying to make the best of a bad situation here. I mean, yeah, people are playing on, lower ping. Some teams are playing on like 300 ping, but at least they're getting to play, right? At least they're getting to participate and represent themselves, represent their region, and ideally make their fans happy. Yeah. I think that's what's so cool.
And before Ocean answers, just a quick background on the guy, because we haven't really introduced him properly, but Ocean's been in the Indian PUBG Mobile community for basically ages now, haven't you, man? You've been casting. I think you were telling me you've done about 1,000 games over the last year or something ridiculous like that. I'm sure you can elaborate on that in a second, but one of the big names over there knows absolutely loads, knows all the teams. So yeah, we're really, really, really honoured to have you on the podcast.
Well, we tried to get Thug, but he wouldn't come on for the first episode. So
again, going back to my part, we're really honoured to have you on the show, dude.
Well,
oh wait, Kate just messaged me. He said he's in. Ocean, sorry, we had to cut this short.
Stop being
Thank you, Blank. Those were some good words. And John, I'll see you soon. And Jason, you're dead to me. Well.
Oh. Okay,
after
so
everything, but
yeah, let's talk a little bit about yourself, obviously, right? For people who maybe don't know who you are, which if they don't, I don't know why they're existing in life.
It's true.
But talk about maybe your history really quickly about when it comes to maybe casting in general, and maybe some like big events that you've done as well, if people don't recognize you outside of the India scene.
All right, so I've been doing like this since like from 24 June 2019. So in 1+ year, I've done like 1,500+ matches. In 1+ years. So yeah, it has been something. So I've done PMIT, that was PUBG Mobile India tour. That was divided into 4 groups. So that was like 4-month long event. I've done like all of it. Then it was like PUBG Mobile Club Open Fall Split that we guys were a part of, and then PMCO this time, PMPL. Then I've done PMPL South Asia, the one that had other teams as well, and then PMCO Pakistan, PMCO Wildcard, all those things. So I have like casted a few events of PUBG Mobile. So far, the journey with the game has been really good. And since the start of PMCO, start of PMPL, we kind of knew that a pandemic is going on. So it was kind of like distributed among East and West and all those things. But still, it's like a good thing. Like the gaming the game and gaming, the spirit of gaming that brings us together. It's a good thing, I would say.
100%, dude. I mean, like, that's actually a really good thing to talk about, because how has the pandemic affected you guys over there? Because I think me and John wanted to come out, and we would love to have casted South Asia.
I mean, I was going too. Don't forget dude, that. No. It was going to be us.
We all know that you are dead. You're dead to the.
Yeah, you're dead to.
Oh right. My bad.
But yeah, it's crazy.
So Blank, you were asking me something, yeah.
Yeah. Because we heard that you guys started the show. We were watching the show. The show looked pretty good, but then it got shut down pretty fast in terms of like an offline setting, right?
Yeah, so things happen because in India it was a bit strictness with everything, like lockdown was happening. So India has a lot of states, right? So in each and every state the lockdown was happening, and then different zones were created. So previously where the show was about to happen, that district, that state was under red zone. So red zone means not more than 2 people can meet each other.
Oh, wow.
And when you are red zone, orange zone, and green zone. Green zone is a free area. Orange zone is like you can meet people, but with some specifications and all those things. But we were under red zone. So you cannot have a studio, you cannot have a production team, you cannot have, even the casters are 3 in number, right? So more than 2 people. So you cannot do that. So we just had to cut short on each and everything. The players were sent to hotels. They were allowed not to just come out of the hotel rooms. Me, personally, I was like 2.5 months just in one room. I did not meet anyone, nothing. So that was one thing. But when I would say we saved a part of our energy. And when we came back to the casting, when our region was under orange zone, the energy that just blasted, and it just started with a good spirit. And the big thanks was to the audience. Like, they supported us in that tough times. That yes, the pandemic is going on. They understood it in the right way, and yeah, that's the good thing.
Yeah, I think that's it's been sort of just a struggle for everybody to figure out how to handle this thing, because it's such a new. It hasn't happened for quite a long time, and it's sort of a very new event.
When you say everyone, you mean not only PUBG Mobile, you mean literally the entire world. I mean, whether it's an esport, a sport, whether it's schools, everyone is trying to figure out what the hell to do. And well, some coaches are doing it better than others. And
I would say so.
If anything, esports has kind of taken off even more from this because people can't go out and do things they want to do anymore. They can sit back and enjoy the lovely esports that's going to be going on.
Stream viewership is up in general. I don't have the exact numbers on it, but it's like...
You're the numbers guy, John. Come on.
Hey,
dude.
I'll Google it if you want me to.
Yeah,
man.
Google it now.
I'm going to Google that.
You could be like... you'd be
Statman's Bruno.
Yeah.
It's just less appealing, not as cool clothes.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for Valve.
At some point, I'm sure we'll get some dude to be in the background doing the googling and the searching. But for the time being, that would be having to be.
Man, John, you should have done your homework beforehand, man.
I've done my homework on the stats for the
You're keeping
tournament.
us waiting. You're keeping us waiting, man. That's wrong.
He's the Google guy now. Okay, I'm okay with it. But yeah, so. Pandemic's been kind of crazy, but esports been popping off. I didn't actually know about the whole red zone, orange zone, and green zone stuff in India. I didn't know about that, but red zone is incredibly strict. That's wild.
That's wild because it's like human safety comes first, and that thing, the thing that you also said, like we don't know what's right in front of us, right? We don't know how to tackle it, and in the baby steps of that pandemic, no one knew how to tackle it. So red zone had to be declared to get that utmost strictness out of like everything, because if you do something wrong in that area, obviously the containment zone, everyone's going to be infected, and also that would have like taken everything to a downtoll. But like sports in general, like football, cricket, and everything, you cannot go outside. So what people are gonna do, just sit back and just watch PUBG Mobile.
Boys.
Yeah, play some PUBG Mobile.
Specifically, so I have got the numbers now. I did in fact Google
the
it.
Google dude.
Specifically about Twitch, it jumped 50% between March and April.
20%. That's a lot.
50%. 50%.
That's a lot of percent.
That's a lot of percent right there.
50 percent points.
Nice.
Between March and April, so over a month, it jumped 50% in its viewership,
and a full
101% over year, with a total of 1.64 billion hours watched per month.
Damn, that's crazy.
I mean,
that is crazy.
Giving
That's
Pornhub a run
amazing.
for their money.
Wow.
It is amazing.
Last PMCO, when it was just PMCO South Asia, like PMCO India, when you guys were also out here, I remember we reached a peak viewership on YouTube, 100k peak viewership, and right now we are reaching 300k. So that's a gain, right, for India.
Hell, I remember when we were there for PMCO South Asia Regional Finals. It was like 2 point something million on day one on YouTube on the VOD, and it was the most trending video in India on YouTube until like some trailer came out later that day. It's insane stuff. Like India is ridiculous when it comes to PUBG Mobile. Everyone watches it seems.
I mean, it's a game that keeps us all connected, right? It's more than a game now. It has turned into emotions with the stuff. So it comes up really good for us.
Okay, so let's start to maybe like focus on this event then for the World League here, like kind of our own impressions on it. I think it's been, again, like a little bit of a shame that we can't have all the players here. Like everyone would have loved to have been here. Like it would have been so cool to chill with all the players, talk to them, have the East region meet the West region, have the people who maybe haven't played in these international events be able to get that experience. But at least we're getting the tournament done, right? At least we're having it happen. At least PUBG Mobile staying committed to their World League plan here in this year. And at least that's good to see.
For sure. I mean, like, it's been hella cool. I mean, to be fair, so we had that, like, I think it was about a 3-month, 2-month period of downtime for PUBG Mobile where everyone, like, consolidated stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, the PUBG Mobile team was trying to figure out how they're going to do it. But surprisingly, like, we had PMPL, Bish Bash Bosh. That was for NA. Most of the other PMPLs already concluded, and then bang, straight into World League. And at this rate, we're probably going to have another World League by the end of the year if we're continuing that trajectory, which is amazing, right? Like we want to have 2 World Leagues by the end of, I think 2020 was the idea.
Yeah, 2 seasons.
We're going to have 2 seasons. Like, it's crazy the PUBG Mobile team's been able to do that. But like, what I'm interested in, Ocean, I'm going to throw this question to you now because I think that you maybe know the Indian teams a little bit better than we do. But how do you reckon the teams have been doing with the pandemic? Because I'm sure you talked to those guys quite a lot. Because I know from between the battlegrounds that me and John were in, having a little cheeky thing there. Obviously, we saw. They're all swearing at me now. But, there was a lot of teams like coming together, like finding team houses and then creating their own little bubbles and then playing from there. And I think a lot of people actually thrive from it rather than suffering, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. Right now, everyone's missing those LAN event vibes, like when there's audience right in front of them, and then whenever they do a single kill or a 1v4, the audience just they go crazy. That thing is when people are missing. But on the other side, on the brighter side, the people are getting their comfort zone, right? They started playing PUBG, like they installed it on their phones when they were in their homes, like laid back and just playing it. And so they're getting that vibe. So they're in that zone with kind of a less mental pressure. Obviously, they have to perform in front of the best teams of the world. But they are in their boot camps. They have all the good facilities. They have a nice internet, as per them. Like for their gameplay, they have nice time to juggle up with their players. Like once the match is over, they just sit there, like look at all the strategies, what happened, good, bad, and everything. So yeah, they have all the good things. So I would say it's a win-win situation for the audience as well. Like audiences, what audience wanted? A good gameplay. They're getting that. What audience wanted? Their teams to perform. They're getting that. What players wanted? Their comfort zone. They're getting that. What we wanted? A good game. We're getting it. So yeah.
See, that's something I never really considered, is that if you're a player who hasn't played
there's no
in
LAN
a tournament,
anxiety, right?
exactly, you're not playing in front of an audience. So if you've never done that before, like we talked about Clutch God when we were there for the South Asia regionals, like that's a lot of pressure on him to play in front of such a big crowd. A lot of teams in West, I don't think have ever played at a tournament, a live LAN event tournament. So now being able to play from home, you have to be so much more comfortable, right?
Yeah.
That's something I never even considered.
Well, it's the same mind frame, right?
Like, you know, Beer 11, like, I think he's not relatively new, but, like, new as in to, like, a big scene. And, like, he's performing massively well. And I wonder if it would be any different, right, if he was on the stage in front of a lot of people and you're a young dude, you're getting pretty anxious because you're in front of the cameras all the time. I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on you.
But that's kind of pretty cool when you think about next time as well, because it's more than likely we're going to be seeing a lot of these teams come back into this, right? So
and actually be here.
So they've now had the experience of playing against the top teams, so they don't have both playing against the top teams and playing at the live event situation to worry about all at the same time. So it's sort of one step at a time. So in a way, yeah, it could be an advantage for some people.
Well, what about the other way around? So Ocean, you've casted from home, you've casted from studios, you've casted at LAN events. It's the complete opposite though for like talent in front of a screen commentating, right?
Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, like watching audience is one good thing. Obviously, it's a good thing. Like you get to meet the people as well. Like you get to ask people. Suppose if we were in a LAN event, we can ask audience as well. Like, what team are you rooting for? What is it? I mean, right now they do it in the comment section. Obviously, we read it later. But when you're asking the audience, like, do you want TS72 to perform in the audience? The crowd goes, whoa, and you're like, or sometimes you're like going for RRQ, maybe BDA, and the audience just, it just obliterates everything. Like. Yeah, explodes up to the roof, and that's amazing. But right now, all we can think about it is like the audience, they have their support for the team. Like in an offline way, they have the support for the team, and that's one thing. For us, it's like another studio event, but with the highest of the stakes. So yeah, we also have to give 100%.
I think it's it's a hard mental switch to make, right? That when you're in a studio, not playing in front of people or not casting in front of people, you have to remember they're at home rooting as if they were in a LAN event, like they were in a stadium, right? So you have to also keep that energy up, which is still extremely difficult to do when you can't feed off the crowd.
Well, this is going to say, right? But I think that if anything, like I think I've improved as a commentator over PMWL because I feed off people like screaming and shouting in the crowd. And I get hype off that. But I think like I've had to, like this event, like not had to create my own hype, but also it's like my passion and then see how far I can drive that to its upper limits, which I think we've had like some really good moments like during this tournament. But it's been weird at the start.
What?
It's been hard like not having the crowd there to feed off like their shot. But it's still gonna be really good to have them.
What a shot!
What a shot! Yeah. As Pansy would say.
I mean, when you do that, what a shot, the audience, if there's a crowd, then they also go like, oh my god, that's amazing. And when it's final circle, all right, imagine, you guys have done that, right? RRQ Beer 11, his grenade against Waldas, if you remember that match.
Yeah,
imagine if RRQ Beer 11 was in like crowd was out there and he was just playing. Imagine the hooting that there would have been for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember back in June of last year, the first event I did in India for PUBG Mobile, and we were announcing like the top 3 teams, like the ones who went through into Berlin for the global finals, and announcing, and and your last team to get through, and saying like Mortal, Viper, like saying all their names one by one, and Team Soul, like, and the crowd went off. Like that's a kind of energy you can't get in a studio, but that also makes you appreciate, I guess, the events even more.
Fun fact, when you were announcing that, I was in the audience. I came there, I came to the first PMCO to see how actually casting works. I was in
really?
the audience. I was sitting in the audience. I was watching. I was like, I don't care whoever wins because someone will be winning. But I want to do casting. So I was watching Hindi casting, English casting, both at the same time. I was sitting in the audience. I was part of the crowd just to see what happens. How do you throw? What happens when the matches are happening and everything? I was just sitting out there in the crowd.
Is that when you fell in love with me?
I hate you. You're dead.
That's a negative. That's a negative promotion.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well let's move this on a little bit as well. Like for instance, the format of this entire World League is something kind of unique, right? We have 20 teams from each region. You have to do an opening weekend, which kind of determines seeding because at least in the West, more particular, some teams don't play against other teams that often. And then that fed into what, a league stage, and then from there you feed into a super weekend where only those points are going to matter. What was your thoughts on the whole like format of the tournament?
I would say that was good in a way because that kind of created a thing of like surprise element in the game. Like you're like it's an opening weekend, right? We kind of are thinking about what's gonna happen, what's not gonna, which team are gonna be out there. Then the new format, the format's like 20 teams, 16 teams, 20 teams, 16 teams every week and all that. So people have that excitement. Like Eurogank, we know it, right? First super weekend, they had first three games, they just won it. And then they never won. They were out of the second week. So that just creates an excitement. What's happening? Are they qualifying? Are they not qualifying? Imagine, in the third super weekend, first day, not the super weekend, in the third league place, first day BTR was at 19th position. That means they had to do something. Had BTR got eliminated, had they not had that one chicken dinner on the second day, they would not have won. They would not have played. Imagine, just think about the different scenario. So that's
you don't
a
even have to
surprising
imagine.
element.
Look at West, Cloud9 was in 19th place at the end of the first day of league play. They didn't qualify, and they lost themselves $44,000 because of it.
Yeah,
Idiots.
they came to.
I mean, Beowulf's on the show, remember? Like, I didn't. Spoiler.
That's the thing. Dream Eaters, Cloud9, and Loops. They have 5 chicken dinners each. But look where they are. Loops is on the top, right? And Cloud9, from that position, they are on the 6th position. Why? For one reason that they were not. So that's one thing that the format is giving us. It's giving us a sense of excitement, a sense of surprise. Like this might happen, this might not happen. Your favorite team is not there to stay. They can be thrown down.
It is kind of cool that like not only do you get a large amount of games, which sort of I always have a little bit of a problem with like really short for like 2-day 10-game tournaments. Yeah. I don't feel like you always get the best teams at the top. But when you expand it over 30 games,
I think there was 83 total that happened.
So event. Far 75 games per
in Super Weekend. 75. No, because we had 8 days in opening weekend.
Oh, so
8 games in opening
I didn't
weekend.
include opening weekend. You're right.
Yeah.
The
stats guy can't even do math.
Hey, look, I've got 75 games records on my spreadsheet, so I'd say there's 75 games. I've got to stick by my.
So John is counting.
But
John is counting the stuff that actually matters.
Whoa, I
mean,
for sure.
But we not only get like the sort of the short sets of games that are really quite interesting to see, like the Super Weekends. You get 15 games per Super Weekend, but you get the overarching concepts of a long form league where you have many games. Where things average out and you sort of don't always have to respect those one-shot pop-offs as like, oh, well, now they can win. It's okay. I mean, we even saw that in East, right, where Bigatron, like, they had a great start, but then they fell off towards week 3, and then it was only right at the end they were able to actually get it back. So it was sort of really close in that respect, just because you look at the averages rather than sort of single games as really the deciding factor.
Yeah, you said a load of like mumbo jumbo stat stuff. And I enjoyed it. It was good. Let's talk about the East League really quick because we love the East League more than the West League.
That is true. In fact, I would agree with that.
That's where the views are.
I mean,
West is better because it doesn't have ocean.
No,
so.
we have to have a vested interest in East League considering we're covering it. But Jason, you've got to back your West members up. This is your job.
Jason, it's 1v3.
Is it 1v3? Come on, hit.
Hey, we got Kirill. He pulls off 1v3s like it's his freaking job.
Yeah, he does.
You name one, we'll name 7 people. You name one, we'll name 7 people.
You name one, we'll name more. But yeah, let's talk about East real quick because I was talking about TSO Energy until I got rudely cut off by my beautiful host, Jason. Even though he's beautiful, he's still really.
He's
evil
not
and
just.
cuts
He's
me
not
off.
the host. He's not the host. He's just the guy who's actually just taking
He's
the
just a
sound and all that.
dude.
Stuff.
Just
All
a
right, Blank,
dude
talk about
in the
TSM
corner.
Entity.
I'm talking about TSM Entity. So I was talking about comfortability really quickly, and obviously their internet provider brought them that biryani, which actually looked really nice, and I was really jealous. But it's for Eid, so that's cool. They celebrate that. That's absolutely on them, and I don't.
So
deserve
TSM
the
Entity,
biryani. But TSM Entity on the other hand, I want the biryani so much. But essentially, TSM Entity, they had a rough start of the week of the tournament, right? Purely because of the ping issues. And I was saying to John that it would be a real shame if they came second or third. Not because they came second or third, because that would be great in all terms. But imagine if they'd had like a better Super Weekend week one, right? And they were able to get to the top and actually push for those big numbers in terms of money. So that was a little bit sad, but they really brought it back. Sure, they didn't get up into like the top echelons of the leaderboard, but they got a sixth, which is pretty high up and a pretty big comeback, right?
Just to put in here as well, if you take just their second two Super Weekends and you take that average and apply it to the first Super Weekend, they would have ended on 499 points, which puts them currently in third. But then you have to consider as well that those points would have had to come from somewhere else. So that would have been taken away from the top most likely and pushed them up a little bit higher. So they would have been finishing around second or third if that first week had been as strong as the second two.
Thank you, Stats Bruno. You saved it for me. I definitely was talking about the biryani too much. I think I need to.
I know you're talking about it again.
Maybe.
But trust me, those are some amazing stats. So imagine, right? If they had been at 490, imagine if they had been at 499. Obviously, they would have, fondled with others' gameplays as well. Like, imagine the first fight that happened, the first fight of PMWL East that happened was TSM versus BDR. The first blood that was out there was TSM versus BDR. And in that, obviously, BDR had an upper hand. They know how to rotate from that bridge. Obviously, the fight went onto the opponent's directions because of the ping issues and everything. If that would have been something else, maybe they would have had some different things. So, but one thing that I like about them is, all right, 1 week that went to waste, but they quickly realized what their mistake is, shifted from their bootcamp to Souls bootcamp, did an impressive performance, came back to their bootcamp, had a good internet for the third time, and yes, they did amazing. So they are that team. Like, if you talk about it, first Super Weekend, you're like, oh my god, TSM is doing bad. The qualifications are looking tough for them, but then they just come back. That comeback is one thing that just showcases us one thing, that if you're practicing, if you have faith on your team, if you have faith on yourself, if you know how to handle those tough situations, then yes, you can have a good comeback. And if not, it's not just TSM. Before them, Galaxy Racers Cells, they're also a new team out in this circuit, right? So they were also doing something amazing. So yeah, teams have actually done impressive work, and you guys are laughing.
He's touching me, and I don't know why he's touching me.
Because I want to talk about something.
I want to talk about something as well, actually, about the team. You talked about Biryani.
Look,
I don't trust
guys,
you right now.
Ocean, were you finished or were you just rudely
I'm sorry.
interrupted?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just finishing my sentence and I was like, Jason's touching someone, then Blank is touching Jason. What's happening out there?
He touched me for the record. He touched me first.
I have an interesting.
I'm gonna jump in first.
Okay, you jump in first.
Because I interviewed Jonathan actually at the end of the second Super Weekend because he's the MVP. And the interesting thing was we talked to him about like why did he come in over Clutch God? Yeah. Because they originally started Clutch God over Gatak, and he was playing more of like a sub role. And he was talking to me about Clutch God kind of wasn't getting the confidence he needed in his calls and his in-game leading for his team. So they put Gatak in, and the first game they put him in, they win. And that helps get the confidence back to the rest of the team. I mean, Jonathan, if we talk about confidence, this man was the MVP of the second weekend. He had 26 kills in the third Super Weekend. I don't know if he got the MVP yet again, but he definitely popped off. He has been like quickly rising to me as like one of the superstars when it comes to India. You always think about scouts, you think about mortals, but Jonathan has been playing off the chain this entire event.
Well, I'll give you a quick spoiler, but for the interviews I was doing for doing the Battlegrounds, actually did say that I thought that Jonathan was the best player in the world way back when. And honestly, that's purely from watching him in PMPL South Asia and just in fact even just Fall Split last year, which is crazy.
You mentioned that to me actually earlier during the season when TSM Entity weren't playing so well. I was like, oh no, I've said Jonathan's the best player in the world and TSM Entity aren't doing really good.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm gonna look like an idiot, but now it's all alright.
To be fair, I was like, why have you done this to me, Jonathan? I've had such faith in you as a player, and then suddenly things weren't going so well. But then he's come back. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's all
he
good.
came back, and so it's a good comeback story. You can talk about like it's a good comeback story, right? Just
Yeah.
like what Jason told, like Ghatak just subbed in for Clutch God because see what an IGL has to use four brains. Like he has to use a brain of each and every person because he doesn't. It's not that he has to give a call. He has to give call from the perspective of three other players that are in his team. Like if he says push, he has to say push as in I'll push, you guys will be coming up with me and all those things. If your pushes are going bad, because there were some pushes from TSM that went terrible, right? There were some pushes in the start that went
Yeah.
bad. So after that, Ghatak comes in. Ghatak comes in. He was like with the fresh mind, with that positive aspect, and plus he has a lot more experience with TSM entity from beforehand. So that experience comes in. That experience with everything, knowing all the good and bad of the game. So that just gives that it just gives a boost to the team, and that boost is one thing that TSM needed at that point. And once they got hold of that boost, they just never let it go, and they will never let it go. I'm thinking about it like in the finals. I don't think so. Like TSM is not gonna let it go, and probably might end up in top three because of their performance chart. That's now
Yeah.
it's increasing.
I would say probably more than definitely going to end up in the top three, just purely for how they've been playing right now. I think that the groove is there, and I think like we talked about Jonathan or not, but like Neo's started to pop off as well. Neo's doing huge work, so it's just more and more teams. And I think like overall kill leaders, Neo at 25, Jonathan up there with 26 on the overall Super Weekend. So it was just crazy. It was just crazy overall. I want to talk
that was
about
just week 3 Super Weekend. I'm not
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just week 3.
Yeah, just week
Yeah.
3. So I do want to chat about Orange Rock. Are you comfortable
Yeah.
talking with Orange Rock about Tell us much here, Orange?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing that really interested me was purely like the battle for Rozhok. So you guys are playing outside Ruins towards Watertown, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of scouting going on towards where you were playing, and then making sure that rotation from Georgia Pole wasn't compromised, right? But there was like 4 teams in Rozhok, and it was so difficult, and the circles kept going east. So I always thought to myself, it must be so hard for Orange Rock to push through there, because then you could either think about going to the south, but then you're running into Box Gaming, PTR, and
RRQ.
GXR cells, and RRQ. So I just wondered, like, how did you think about dealing with this? Because we saw you start to send scouts less and less towards Georgia Pole, and then playing more as a unit.
So there's a thing about the team right now because obviously Scout is out there, Gil is out there, like Gil was in Nova God like beforehand, right? So Gil
Yeah.
was taken. So the thing is, new team, I know you have really good assaulters, but keeping that synergy with assaulters is important, right? What you can have is you see players, you shoot. All 4 players of you want to shoot. No one wants to cover the other people. In that
Yeah.
way, you are just falling down, and that's one thing. And talking about the rotations, this is one thing that I would say I kind of like of this team, and I dislike for this team. They just have one drop location. Talk about Nova God like. Previously they used to be in Pochinki, then they took Georgopol North, then they came back to Pochinki. RRQ, they in the final days, previously they were the gods of Pochinki. In final days they just changed their location, right? Now you talk about Box Gaming, they go on 2-3 different spots. They also go on Primorsk area. There are some teams like Mega Stars, they go to Kameshki, they go to Novorapnoi.
Yeah.
If you have a secondary drop location for yourself, suppose you're thinking like this is a high pressure game for us. We have Yuru on top of us. We have Morph coming onto the Georgopol side. We have Valrus onto the Rozhok
Yeah.
side, and on the downward side, RRQ might be out there in Pochinki. Team Secret is on Gatka. If the circles on the military base side, Team Secret, RRQ, Box Gaming plus BTR might be having
Yeah.
a bridge camp and everything. You cannot cross the bridge in all those situations, right? So you kind of need to have a second plan. That plan B is what I would say Orange Rock was lacking till the finals. And now they have it. I won't reveal it, but now they have it.
I mean,
okay.
looking
Good.
at Orange Rock, like if you look at their results from the Super Weekends, they got 132 points in the first one, 101 in the second one, 122 in the third. They seem pretty consistent, and something we always talk about is consistency being key when it comes to playing in PUBG Mobile or playing any battleground kind of game. But that's not enough for them to potentially win 100 grand, right? This consistency we're seeing is not good enough for them to break through into like the top 3 rankings. Do you think there's something they can
Yeah.
change now going into the finals
I
that
think-
would
Well, I think
push
You
them
know,
up?
I can make a speculation here. Ocean doesn't have to confirm nor deny this, but I would say that if Orange Rock could have a secondary drop spot, I would just send them over to Georgopol, if I'm quite honest with you, purely because it would make things a lot easier, especially if you do out the game as well as Morph.
If you have been there, I mean, you have been there in the first ever PMCO. The first ever PMCO.
Yeah.
Right? So in that, IT, Indian Tigers, Mavi from IT,
Yeah.
OR from OR Mavi.
Yeah.
They used to land at Georgopol. That was their home ground. Like they challenged Seoul there. That was their home ground. Just think about it now. So they have their home ground area. Plus, if they're landing at Georgopol, they know Water City will be free. No one knows that they're landing at Georgopol, right? Everyone's speculating they're landing at Water City. They just land at Georgopol, take their loot, just go to Water City. But there's one thing: if TSM is in a good mood, they might land back end of the Georgopol. They loot fast, they come there for the fight. So that those are some, plus and minus that they'll have to see. There are some teams. Synergy is one of the teams. If you're talking about the looting time, Synergy loots in 1 minute 20 seconds and then they just rotate. The first 1 minute 20 seconds of the game, they just loot and they rotate. All the other teams, like Synergy has the fastest rotation in the world in all of the teams. Like no one can beat them, not even RRQ, not even BTR. Because what they do is,
super strong.
Suppose Austin uses AKM. And Strider and Zigsaw uses M4. But Zigsaw got AKM and Austin got M4. They at least know how to use this gun, but their favorite gun is vice versa. So they'll get to the zone first, then they'll switch guns and switch ammo and everything after that. So they give their first priority to the zone rotation, and that's important.
Yeah, I was talking about this quite a bit, but Synergy in particular was the fact that they had the sling. I call it the slingshot rotation, right? Because they just fly into the circle.
Yeah.
And a lot of times but I think that the fact they're able to claim center positions so easily was really, really strong, but also kind of worked against them at times, purely because of the way the lobby was, which is where everyone just started to push in towards them. And I'd say at some points, like, they got to the middle too early. In which case, you had about 4 different teams all firing at the same time.
Yeah, if you're at the center of the zone, you have to defend the mark. But you can defend one fight at once. See, you have 4 players, the opponents have 4 players. It will be a 4 versus 4 fight. But if you are fighting somewhere and alright, they killed one team, they got 4 kills, but they also got damaged from those areas. Now the teams that's closer to them, they understand. We heard AK shots, we saw Synergy's player killing some other team.
Yeah.
We'll just rush them because they are also like one of their players is down or 2 of their players are down. We can capitalize on 4 easy kills. That's where the team kind of starts lacking. I mean, taking a fight is good, but saving the second fight is what the teams kind of need to just go up with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, it was unfortunate they didn't get into week 3, John, but like, just look at the numbers. Like, they could have actually pushed it up quite highly. Yeah,
they're sort of on a level with teams like Valdus, teams kind of like Team Secret as well. In that sort of consistency. I mean, King of Gamers Club had a little bit better performance, but again, a similar mark. A team that I do want to talk about if we're talking about center circle teams, I'm talking about Box Gaming. And I think that's fair enough. I think
Box Fort.
They every time we see them in the middle, they set up their box fort, and then that's it. Like, that's game over for everybody else in the lobby. And we saw them really able to do that in the 3rd Super Weekend, up on 196 points, which is, I believe, the 2nd highest score in any Super Weekend.
205
for any team.
RRQ Athena.
Exactly, 205 for RRQ Athena, 196 just gone. So fantastic performance from them in the final Super Weekend.
Box Gaming, I mean, Box Gaming was the only team that had like the highest number of chicken dinners, 6 to be precise, like out there. But
wild.
What? Yeah, alright. I thought you were saying no.
No, you're right. I think I mentioned it on the last day. I was like, it's just an insane amount of chicken dinners to have.
So they had like an easy game for themselves. Even in the final game was what they were playing on the defensive side. The final game, that's where BTR came in. BTR knew how to take that thing from themselves. Like, Box was on the top, BTR was on the 3rd. From 3rd to 1st, when they switch places, that just shows what a world champion should be made up of, right? So Box Gaming, they had a good thing, but BTR, no one can stop them. I mean, that's world champion for a reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, what makes Box so strong once they get set up? Because we have like a similar team in the West League. Well, I can't even say similar team. Is that we have a team that breaks that. Whenever you do get set up in a position, Loops Esports, they're a team who like to just charge straight into. They like to take a fight and be the aggressors. They've tried doing this kind of strategy where they'll sit back, they'll take zone early, and they'll wait for people to come to them, but they seem to falter there. What makes Box so strong when it comes to setting up?
I mean, just like Loops has Carello and like other player Darden, like those players, like what Loops has, Box has Loki and Lewis. It's like those 2 players that create an impact out. Like, they had 544 points. That's amazing what Loops had. Box, they were also like touching 500-ish mark out there. So what makes these 2 teams different and similar is the aspect that they see the zone. They know their opportunities. They know how to get their opportunities. Like Carlo, he has been an MVP. Like right, he has been an MVP player out there in the West League for a reason, and for a reason, sorry. And Box Louis, like Louis plays with his minds. No one would have thought that Miramar thing, the truck just going straight up. Like he knows where his mind can be with the game. Like those smaller aspects of the game, he knows them, and that's what differentiates a normal player from a competitive player from an international player from a world-class player. Like that's the difference that it all creates, and that's what Box is made up of.
Okay. Well, what about BTR? I mean, we should talk a little bit about them. Like you said, reigning world champions. The twins of Zuxi and Luxi. You got Microboy, Ryzen in there. This team, they look good the entire time. They honestly look like they haven't really been hit too hard by the pandemic.
Well, I think Ocean touched on a good point. It's like that's what makes them a world champion, right? And I think for me, what makes a world champion is someone that can pull out the good game when it matters most, right? If you
when you have two people down and it's just you and your twin brother to win the game.
Exactly. Basically, that's pretty much it. But box gaming, I think like it's very fun and all seeing you with like 11 teams remaining and you see box towards the middle of a circle and then me being able to go, well, box wins this game. Like that's very fun to me. But what box don't have is what BTR have, which is like we need to win this game, therefore we will win this game. Like, by all rights, I think, to be honest with you, I think BTR should have gone down in that last game to T1. I don't know if you agree with me, Ocean, but as soon as those knocks came through, the smoke's already up. T1 should have just pushed BTR. I don't know why they just let them live for free.
I would say that's true. And BTR, like in the league days, you see these league days, I would say they were not playing in their BTR format because they were like some games they were like letting it go and everything. Yeah. So BTR, they were saving it for the finals. They knew that the points they had to be in top 16. They were just going for it. But BTR's rotations, if you just have a look at the map stream and all those things, BTR's rotations become predictable. Like what happens is Weekendy, BTR rotates the slowest. They don't rotate till the first 3 circles. Then in the 4th circle, they just try to get inside the zone. In Erangel, first circle slow rotation, second circle fast rotation, third circle slow rotation. That's what they go with. Like that's how the rotations actually come.
The caterpillar.
They go with the caterpillar movement and then they just rush in. And BTR, T1, they eventually they got the kills of T1 in the last match of week 3, Super Weekend 3. But imagine, U Level Up's Winter was ready with a grenade. If you saw that match, U Level Up's Winter had a grenade in his hand. He was going it for Saidan. He was on a low toss nade and then he switched to high toss nade. So first that's what happened in the final moments. Had he been on a low toss nade and he threw that eventually, he would have had those 2 precious kills. But he let them go. He just let them go. I don't know like what happened with him, but those are the advantages that BTR takes. BTR knows those minor calculations and they know how to take advantage of that.
I think that sort of plays into what Blank was saying. It's like that's what a world champion is, right? Able to, even when it's like it's literally like a 25k or a 25k jump, right, in terms of the prize pool, and they're like, oh yeah, they're super cool.
That's cool.
It's final circles is like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. They're understanding who's throwing what nades and how they're being thrown, and they're just like, yeah, let's just do it.
I'll tell you about it. Like the best example is a Sanox match. There was BTR, I guess BTR got a chicken dinner in that one, and then there was a team right opposite to them. BTR had 1 player down. Circle was coming from behind. They had to give a revival. So BTR knew how to calculate it. Like a person that's coming to him, and I guess it was Zuxi or Luxi, I don't know. Like he had 14 bullets in his AKM. He knows it will take him 3.4 seconds to reload an AKM, 7 seconds to revive someone. Then he will put up a first aid that will take him like 6 more seconds. With all those things calculated, they took that fight. Like it was showing like they were calculating the fights in that man, and that just comes up. 25 first aids with Ryzen. Imagine, from 13th position, he brings his team to top 5. Like, the calculations that they just put in, though, like, that on-the-spot thing, that's amazing with BTR.
Yeah, it is truly madness, like, some of the plays they make.
What about, as we talk about some other things, we talked about the teams that did well. What about teams that maybe you expected to do well that didn't, that really underperformed in your eyes?
I would say in that it comes like 17, 18, 19, 20. Those teams like Freestyle, They had a slot. They had like it was just one team from that slot, PMCO Pakistan. So they had a lot of responsibilities. I get it. You have a lot of responsibilities, but the fandom out there is really good. That was really positive. But I think that they can go a lot more. Given more opportunities, there are a lot of teams. So there are teams like Bablu from Pakistan. That's a team, and that was not out here. But that team is similar to what Yuru Gang was, because when PMCO Pakistan was happening, out of 5 matches, they had 4 chicken dinners in first day. Just think about it. Like they just ruled the competition. So that's like one of the team. And then no chance. Like PMCO wildcard just had 1 slot. And no chance won that. So it's like if we have just 1 slot from one team, that just creates a pressure because you're representing a whole region for yourself, from your side, and that's one thing. Nova Godlike, I mean, a lot of fans from Nova Godlike side. I mean, that's one thing. But I just hope these teams, if not in this one, the next one, these teams just come back strong because that's what their fans want.
That's we talked about this sort of actually quite a while ago now, where it was like they've had that experience now, right? Like they've got that under their belt. They've played against the best in the world, ostensibly, right? And now they can come into the next one with that experience, you know, maybe win out their region again with that experience that they've managed to gain, and then come back and try again and hopefully have a little bit of a better showing.
I think with the World League as well, just having like this on the cards for teams is really cool because now you have that big platform to play, because it's no longer a case of you win your own regionals, you win your own finals, and then you go do global finals just at the end of the year, and it's like a one-time thing twice a year, right? Now you have the World League, it's going to be the World Championships too. I think what we'll have from now on is more and more teams be there at the top, because I think like the one standout team at the moment to me is like RQ Athena kind of dropped off a little bit last year, have come back into it now, but Bigatron really is the only team that has been long-standing for me, honestly, in terms of like success right at the top. But I think that as the year progresses, we're going to see more and more teams like make their names known, and we'll have like loops, we'll have like TSM and TB like towards the top, and we'll continue to see these names, you know.
I mean, that's true, but I don't know how we can put this here, but Chinese teams, XQF, 4AM, those teams are not here. But trust me, if they come here, the competition is at another level. It's at another level. PEL Season 2 was going on. I was witnessing those matches as well last week, and 4AM was at 9th position. Just to win, they had one game to win it. Imagine a 20 kill chicken dinner game from 9th position to 1st position in one final game. Just think about it.
Yeah, it's
Did
crazy.
you watch the Saudi tournament, Ocean? Because I know Jason was at it.
No.
Oh yeah, that one,
yeah,
the one, the unique one.
Yeah, the one that. Did Unique win that?
Yeah, unique one.
Oh yeah, of course.
Old Unique.
Yeah. But with 4AM and SQF are there, right?
I don't believe so. No.
Which one was I watching though? There was a tournament with SQF and 4AM.
Are you thinking of? No, I don't know. Are you talking about the Peacekeeper stuff?
It might
be
the
Peacekeeper.
We didn't have Peacekeeper.
Yeah, Oh no, yeah, I was watching Peacekeeper. Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, because
that's what we are talking. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Peacekeeper.
But that was like last year that I'd seen it. Well, last year. I don't know.
That was season 1. And right now season 2 is going on.
Okay. My brain is just completely boggled right now. I'm trying to
with
juggle about 18
going
tournaments.
On, like out here, PMWL is going on, and in China, Peacekeeper Elite League season 2 is going on.
Yeah. My brain is like juggling many tournaments at the same time. I'm trying to bring these things up, but yeah. So I watched 4AM there, and I think like. I would say that China is probably, like, aside from Bigatron maybe, I think China is king of grenades though. Like, and I think Bigatron continually shows how good grenades are, right?
I mean, okay, so Ocean, you watched a lot of the West League as well. What about, like, footballists? Because their nades were ridiculous. I mean, I know John's giving me, like, a funny face right now, but, like, Soke had, like, Lutz had over 21 kills with grenades.
Over what set of games?
Yeah.
Over the super weekends.
But I'd say it's like a unit, like 4AM and XQF, the way that they all throw grenades together to like clear out a team within under 5 seconds.
So what happens
is crazy.
What we people do is imagine you have to get inside the circle.
Whoa.
What East and West people do. Imagine you have to get inside the circle. You'll create a smoke cloud. One person will throw a smoke here, the second one here, third one here, fourth one here. You'll create a smoke wall. what those people do it, they know there are opponents right on the other side of ridge. One person will throw a nade here, second here, third here, fourth here. So if the nade actually blasts, it takes people with it, or if not, they have blasted a running vehicle. Like they've thrown nades and a vehicle has blasted. Trust me, those are the things that those people do. So
that's crazy. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Maybe footballs can't compete against that.
I do think China is just ridiculous at that. I would love to see them. Like, I think we'll get to see them in World Championships, right?
I'll send you guys one video on Instagram later. It's Wangq Gaming.
Oh.
Wangq Gaming. That guy is like, he's a 5-finger claw player, but his reflexes are the best in the world.
Okay, so to wrap things up here with the East League, I want you to give us maybe some predictions about who you think is going to be in the top 3, and then maybe who you think a dark horse could be for the tournament. Someone that maybe unexpectedly could come out and win the whole thing.
Dark horse, I would say Galaxy Racer Cells. They might win the tournament. And if I have to say from the C region, I would say probably Team Secret. They might just come in. I mean, Team Secret, if Beowulf is not playing, they surprisingly play well. I mean, I'm not saying this, but...
Wow.
But, isn't he the captain, though?
But so Super Weekend 2, BB was not playing, but Team Secret had so amazing gameplays in that one. Just think about it.
I know. It's weird, isn't it?
Okay, so then who's your top 3 then for East, do you think?
I would say my top 3 is RRQ wins this.
Okay.
BTR comes second and TSM Entity in third, or TSM Entity and BTR like second or third, but just by 1 point or something. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
That's a bold prediction.
I'm gonna throw my predictions in the hat, and then we can talk about what we think. I think Bigatron's gonna win. I'm gonna put that out first.
I hate you.
I think then it's gonna be.
Is he dead to you as well?
I think it's then gonna be very close second and third between TSM Entity and King of Gamers Club. I think that Box, whilst they have had they do rely on having that center circle, and I think as soon as people figure out how to throw a grenade through a building.
I don't know if this is gonna make it to the podcast or not, but if King of Gamers is coming second or third, it's just because of Valdez. I'm putting it there. It's just because of Valdez.
Oh my lord! Wow. Are we really going there? I'm gonna get messages after this podcast now.
Yeah.
We'll be like, "Is teaming allowed, bro?"
I mean, Jason can tell us about it. Jason, what about Sanok match in PMWL?
I think the ruling has been made on what went down there. I will tell you some background information on that after we're done recording and your recording's off. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think Bigatron is undoubtedly going to be one of the tops. But I do think King of Gamers Club, like, they've been really consistent and actually kind of not necessarily flying under the radar, but sort of not talked about as much as a lot of other teams in terms of the points they're putting up. But they came 4th. They got 160 points weekend 2. They got 168 points weekend 3. Like, they really have been putting in that grind. It's I think, outside of Bigatron, they are one of the highest consistent scoring teams.
Yeah, so my prediction is TSM Entity win.
Oh my! All right.
Okay. All right.
I love you.
Is that for a special shout out on Ocean's Instagram?
No, because there is at least thought behind this, right? Because look at Bigatron, they come first, right? First 2 weeks, they post above 160 points, so they post 189, 178, and 155. All the other teams that came towards that top level had one standout week. For Box Gaming, it was week 3 with 196. For RRQ, it was week 1 with 205. You look at TSM Entity, we know what happened in their first week with 97 points. 83. with 83 points. And then they come into week 2, 176, and then 157. I think that if they'd had a better week 1, like, we could have seen their big week where they'd hit like a 205 or something like that, and then they would have been towards the top. So I think that they have consistency, but also the power to hit the top levels, right?
Okay.
That's true.
Well, my prediction is going to be, you're going to hate me.
Okay.
I'm going...
We already do.
Well, that's been the podcast here with Kaitan. I mean, Thug, any random guy we can get from India.
What?
Bigatron, I think, is going to win it. because I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what position they're in. I feel like they're gonna show up like when it matters, right? If we think back to the global finals last time, the amount of chicken dinners they got, like the confidence they got out of that. I mean, they're a world champion, like we've been saying, for a reason. Second place. I feel like if Jonathan can keep playing like he's been playing, and you have Neo there as well, like I think we could see them actually take second, like legitimately take second if they can have their stand-up matches across the 24 games they have to play.
That's TSM Entity, right?
TSM Entity, yes. But realistically, are they going to be able to do that? I'm not sure. I feel like maybe the pressure could get to them. I hope to see them second place, and I think maybe RRQ Athena would pull off like a third. Because I'm assuming we're going to have, like John was saying, teams figure out how Box are going to play and be able to work around that and be able to be more aggressive against it. So for me, Bigatron, I'm going to go TSM Entity.
Such glory supporters, these guys.
I mean, they're number one for a reason. No one came close to it at the
prediction then, is it? Because you're just like, I'm going to pick the number one.
Well, I will say this. Yeah. I will say this. In our prediction game we had for West, I did tie for first place, though I could have beat 7 if I really wanted to. At
the really impressive predictions that you did at the beginning of every game before having any
exactly
on the game.
Hey, beginning of the finals before having any information of the game. So clearly what I'm saying is on point.
Okay.
But cool. but what are your dark horses? You guys never mentioned your dark horses for the finals.
Dark horses, Valdus the Murder, without the help of King of Gamers. No, but genuinely, I genuinely think that Valdus the Murder is a really good team, and Martin is probably one of the most, I wouldn't say underrated players, but I think he's a player that we need to put more attention on, because he is immense, like as a player, and I. Honestly, if I'm honest, I think he's probably going to get picked up by another team at some point. I would not be surprised to see him go over onto Team Secret, because he would just be ridiculous on that team.
That's true. And I think Pime from Box Gaming.
Yes,
he might
Pime
get
from Box Gaming.
Pime from Box Gaming. He might. Like yesterday also, me and Johnny. What's he doing? Yesterday also...
All right, I think
also me and Johnny were discussing about it, and we talked about it, and we were like, imagine if Pime goes in BTR will get an amazing sniper.
Yeah. But the thing is, a Bigatron, I don't think they're lacking a bad player at this point. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true though, but it never hurts to have an extra.
That's true. That's true.
As a sub on the roster. All right, cool. Dark Horses, UG Gank. I think they're going to come back. How's that? Real quick, real rapid.
Nice. I like that one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Dark
strong.
Horse, Orange Rock.
Oh, okay.
I love you.
So he hates me. I'm dead to him.
Look at Osha.
I love you.
He hates Jason one minute, he loves him, and the next he says Orange Rock.
Okay.
Okay, well, to round off this entire segment, this entire talk about the East League, obviously we want to thank you so much for being on the very first episode here of the 6X. 6X. I always call it 6 times.
It's the 6X.
The 6X.
Yeah.
And I want you to, obviously give a little shout out to yourselves. Tell people where they can find you. Tell people, your social medias. Maybe you want to talk about some shout outs yourself to your favorite, person ever, Jason Kaplan. It's up to you. Floor is yours.
All right, so if you guys want to follow me out there, you can follow me out on Instagram, thank you, and Twitter as well. You can follow Blank as Blank_casts on Instagram, John casts on Instagram, and I think that is pretty much it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the 6X. It's a podcast where we take a deeper dive into the PUBG Mobile scene, but we are having a little bit of a return to the West League now. We talked about East League a little bit, and now we're going to talk about West League. And we got, again, another special guest joining us in a little bit, but yeah, how are you feeling about West League? Because you're the host on it, aren't you, Jason?
Well, I'm going to give a big shout out to my boys.
No. You got, please let John do it. Please let John do it.
I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to my boy Jason for hosting the World League West desk. Absolutely love that guy. Absolute favorite host.
Yeah, so that's how the West League's been so far. No, it's been pretty sick, actually. It's been really cool. We've had some really diverse teams. We've had teams like Loops Esports and even football. Let's be these heavy fraggers. They're the ones that will go into a firefight with you whenever they possibly can. You have Cloud9 basically winning everything as well. A little bit unfortunate what came down to in the final Super Weekend, but we'll get into that a little bit more later on. But it's been really cool to see some teams grow. We've seen some teams definitely improve over time. Like for instance, Nova Esports, they looked kind of rough in the beginning. Then they brought in Kat from XQF over from China. He brought a new life into the team, and they looked much stronger with him. Kanina Power as well. They initially started off strong in the opening weekend. And the first day they were not there at all. They were non-existent. They were basically horse meat. And then going to going to the second day.
All right, Tesco, calm down.
They showed up amazingly.
Aldi, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
We have an Aldi in Germany. I don't want to shop at Aldi anymore.
Oh no, they sorted it out. It's okay. Continue.
All right.
Sorry about that.
And then they came back really well on the final day, though they changed up their styles. So it's been really cool to see teams really adapt. I'm a little bit sad to not see you two there, actually, since you casted PMPL Americas, you would be able to see how the teams have grown over time.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, I think we're still having this thing in West League that we don't have in East League at the moment, where I think East is a lot more balanced in terms of teams. Like, we don't... Obviously, we've got the standout in terms of Bigatron, but, like, they had to push for that ending. Whereas I think in West, we've got some, like, big powerhouses, like you say, Kanina Power, Loops in that sense, and then Footballs as well. But one team, obviously, Cloud9, we like to talk about. And they had a little bit of a slow start in PMPL and A, and then they just blasted off into the World League. And like we said earlier, we've got one player with us today. We've got Beowulf. This guy has been basically around since the beginning of Dawn of Time of PUBG Mobile, and always touted as one of probably the best IGLs out there. So, Beo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here and happy you guys wanted to have me.
Yeah, we want you, bro. Look, I've hyped you up. That's why we want you here, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Dude, so come on, like really quick though, before we actually head into the West League, like I actually I want to hear your beginnings in PUBG Mobile, because I'm always interested in stuff, and I think like you're one of the players that has been most long-standing in the scene, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing the game the day it came out, like in March 2018, and
you remember that the month as well?
Because I was on spring break in Florida, and when I played the game, that was in March. And basically, I knew the game was probably going to blow up, and it would be huge, popular, and there'd be a big esports scene. And I decided that I was gonna like give it one more shot at like getting into esports or something, and I really focused like all my energy on the game, and it worked out really well so far.
I would say so. Yeah, I would actually say so massively.
I mean, also for him, I mean, he's not only like one of the best, if not the best, in-game leaders when it comes to like the West League in general or North America in general, whatever you want to say. He's also one of the best fraggers too. To be able to in-game lead and frag has been ridiculous. And I talked to you, like a couple weeks ago or like a week ago for an interview, and we were talking about Adder, like the newest addition to the team, and how he's really relieved some of that pressure off of your shoulders of having to be the in-game leader and the big fragger. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's definitely helped in a lot of ways. And we've also he's kind of helped with this, but we've changed our playstyle a little bit more. Like people always talk about how like we're not getting like enough kills. We're playing like more passive in the beginning, focusing on rotations, and then getting wins over massive kills, like a team like Loops is going for.
We noticed that last year actually for global finals.
Yeah, I like to. I'm talking to my team like in the mid and late game. I'm always like, hey, like with 4 people alive is the most important thing. 4 people alive is all that matters. I don't care if we have 20 kills as long as we win the match, because we have 4 people, and that's gives us the best shot of winning, and that's more points than it's more likely to get a win than it is to get a 20 kill match. So it's easier to get points that way.
You know, that's pretty interesting actually, because in PMPL we saw B4 basically just go to Novo, loot up, and be like, let's just never see a team until the last circle, and then let's just play that way. I mean,
yeah, it works well.
It works well, right?
Utility, armor, ammo, you got everything for the first fight.
I mean, that's one of the reasons we always say when it comes to Cloud9 on the show, that if they have all 4 left alive in like some of the last zones, then that's going to pretty much do it the entire time. They're going to be able to pick themselves up a victory.
I think over the course of these games, I think it's less than 10% of games get won by a squad that has less than 3 players into the final circle. I have to check the exact numbers on that, but it's a very, very small fraction of the lobby that it sort of ever happens, right. and it's more often than not a four player squad. Obviously, you have the exceptions.
You don't even have to look at the stats to know that. It's just like That's very important.
Look at that.
Oh, no.
He's really destroyed. He's destroyed Stats Bruno there.
Oh,
He's
no.
got you good.
Nice stats. Well, I'll tell you what, Beowulf.
I'm
you
sorry,
got
John, I'm sorry.
you got 14% kills under your expected performance. So how's that?
Wow, I can't believe you coming in here with that. Look.
So I mean, I think we might have a new permanent edition available or permanent slot
Yeah,
available here on the
yeah.
podcast if you want to join the Bayo.
We have
we're gonna be
stats Bale instead
Yeah.
of Stats Bruno.
So one thing I want to
Except the stats are all just made up.
yeah, but no one will challenge you.
No, Bale. All you have to
There's
say.
no data backing
Whoa,
up.
whoa, whoa! You think my stats
Personal
aren't
feeling.
made up? I feel like you've overestimated me, sir.
Bale, all you have to say, because it's such a good line, say, you don't have to look at the stats to know that one for sure. That's all you have to say every time. As soon as you said that, I was like, yes, Bale's telling the absolute truth here. Like,
That
I
has to
believe
be
him.
True.
So one thing I wanted to focus on when we talked about West League here was, for me, every match seemed like a battle between you guys, Cloud9, and Loops Esports. It seemed like you guys were only one of the few teams who could ever deal with them. And we saw you guys like mash up against each other so many times in so many different matches. How do you feel like this is between you two? Do you feel like there is a rivalry between you guys, or do you think this is just like maybe as we see it from the outside looking in?
I think there's not like, I guess, an official rivalry, but it's definitely like the team that we're looking out for and the team that we're trying to like know where they are on the map at all times. And like every time we go into a game, they're definitely our primary opponent. We know they're always going to do well. Even if I think they had a slightly slow start to PMWL. I think they were in like 4th place after like first Super Weekend, but then really stepped it up. And I mean, we expected them to the whole time, and expected them to be like the team that we were competing against throughout the tournament.
Yeah, and it was honestly like really cool to see. Like I remember a finish we had on Vikendi between you guys. I think that was in the 2nd Super Weekend where it came down to a 4-on-4 fight between you two teams. Yeah. And honestly, I think we could watch matches like that every single day. But then maybe to talk about some other teams here. I know in the interview we talked about Tempo Storm a little bit, and Tempo Storm, I guess a little bit of a lackluster 3rd Super Weekend. However, they've been looking better as time has gone on, and Tenza even got himself the MVP. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on the team.
Yeah, I mean, they are generally very consistent, and always you can expect them to do well. We'll always be like a top North American team. Tensa is a super strong player, and him and HH, like that duo, is able to like push them really far into tournaments.
It's wild. It's a wild duo right there.
Tenza, he even said he's used a term DM warrior to me today when I interviewed him. Because he's the type of player who didn't really know how to play competitively. He just would do the DM, the death matches all the time.
That's me.
Yeah,
and he got like raw aim, right? I think you can always teach strategy to a player, but you can't teach the inherent genius that comes in of being a really good aimer.
And that speaks to the value almost that Beowulf brings to Cloud9, right? Like of a strong IGL. Being able to have a strong IGL as that controlling factor in a game, I think it is almost invaluable, right? Like it's something that you very rarely find. So being able to grab Tensa and just be like, right, here's what you're doing, here's where we're going to point you, and just let him off the chain. That's a pretty valuable skill to have. So it's sort of a 1-2 punch.
It's a twofer.
It's a twofer.
In sports, I think they call it like some people have like the it factor, like whatever it is that makes them like the top player. Tensa is definitely one of the players in my eyes.
And you don't need to look at the stats to tell that.
No, you don't even look at the stats to look at that
But,
one.
but if you look at the stats, it backs it up too.
Stats Bruno. I think
Hang on a
we're
minute.
going to have
Here
to
you
fight
go.
with this one. I'm sorry, bro.
Tensa actually, he's done pretty bloody well. 40% kills over expected. Looks like it's exactly the same as Spec. I think they had the same kill count, 95 at the end of the tournament, over all of the games, not including the opening weekend.
23k damage is actually ridiculous as well.
That's over 75 games.
Yeah. Which is madness. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this earlier though, about how, in the PMPL, right? And we're going to talk about this, Bayo, because we have to. Because the beginning of PMPL, like, it wasn't the Cloud9 that I was used to personally. Because in the global finals, I think you guys put up a really good, like, shout for the North American teams. You're like, yes, we can perform up there with the best of them. And then it came to PMPL, and it was a bit weird at the beginning. And then obviously towards the end, it was like, Cloud9, this is the Cloud9 I'm used to watching again. So I don't know if you guys, if there's any reason for the beginning of the tournament being a little bit lackluster. Because now, obviously, coming into the Super Weekend week 1 and 2, like, you guys were firmly on track, right?
Yeah, there's definitely an adjustment period at the beginning of PMPL, where we kind of I think we're trying to play, I guess, kind of how we do in North America, and that doesn't necessarily work all the time. You have to play you have to adapt to whatever strategy like the lobby needs. Like if we have to, I always say like that's our play style is like whatever we need to do in that match, whether we have to be super aggressive and win games, or we just have to like win every fight that we take, or rotate out rotate the other teams, whatever is needed for each moment that we can do. And we finally like figured out the right formula to do super well against like the teams that we're going against, and at the end of PMPL, and then throughout our time playing in PMWL, I think it showed.
So I'm actually curious on that note.
Figured it out.
So if you guys didn't have to adapt to the way the lobby's playing, what would be your ideal play style? Like if you got to choose the way you wanted to play and it would work in those matches, what would you go for?
So what we've been playing, I guess, before PMPL is we've always been like a center team, where teams that go to the middle of the circle, but the play style has like the meta has changed in North America after the last like Worlds cycle, in like January, everybody started like edging more. It was also when Wildcard like became a top team, and Wildcard is known for having like almost no strategy, where they literally just sit in the north on the edge of the zone until they have to move, and then they just go to wherever they pick and take a fight like that. Like that's kind of their thing. So people are trying to like replicate that. So like classic like center teams, like Tempo Storm is known for going center every time, no matter what. The center compound will be taken by them. They go Pachinki, they rotate fast, but they completely did a 180 in the middle of Worlds or PMPL or something, where they loot Pachinki, and then they just sit on like the hill at the church next to Pachinki and until they have to move. They're playing like Wildcard, and a lot of other teams change their style to like that. So then like the center is super open, so we just go center every time, because all these teams are not going there anymore. So, and we can get it, and we usually come from like the edge, like South Georgia Pole or El Pozo. So it was difficult for us to get to the center, but now it was like super open, so we were able to like take positions like that. But then now it's kind of, now that we're playing against like the World League and Pro League, it kind of shifted, because there's teams in South America that play center. Loops somewhat does, and other teams that would do it. And so each lobby is different depending on like the mix of teams and their play styles. So in North America, being like super aggressive for the center paid off a lot, but in World League we've had to play a lot more passive and smart and think about our decisions and make sure that we're can't go too much into it. But
it says passive and smart puts up 213 points and 203 points in week 1 and 2.
Nobody else has figured out what we're doing, but I think Tempo also changed their play style in the World League because of how well we were doing at the end of PMPL. And,
you love to see it. You love to see it, though.
But I've got the secret sauce, the secret formula.
Okay.
Whoa, you got the secret sauce.
No other teams except for possibly one.
Okay.
Which is Team Unique, because something that Adder knows that it might have the formula.
I see. So you've got the ketchup mayo. You got the ketchup mayo coming in big time.
They don't know how to prepare it right, but they have the ingredient.
All right. Okay. So we're going to see a little bit of a change.
The mayo.
So we're primed to see a bit of a change then coming through for Cloud9.
Well, the change came at the end of the PMPL,
right?
Where we figured out how to prepare the dish correctly.
Okay. On.
I mean, pretty much you're dishing out the damage.
Hungry.
I'm hungry now.
Loops does it completely differently though. They just brute force it. And
just grab whatever out of the pantry and make a dish out of it.
They just get that. Yeah, they get that.
Like on MasterChef, like they go, you got a tomato, you got lettuce, you got some beef. I need to see something. They're like, I got this, man. I'm gonna make a tomato. Beef lettuce sandwich, boys.
They get the cast iron skillet out and they just go like, well, I'm just gonna make this really hot and put a steak in it. That sounds good.
Where's steak come from?
Beef.
Oh, to be fair, in my head I just had minced beef in mind. I don't know why, but that's the only beef that would come to mind at this point.
So a meatloaf.
Jeez. Yeah, so like a lettuce tomato.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. But yeah, so
I want to jump in real quick.
Wait, no,
off of what he's saying.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick.
Okay.
Let me just jump in.
But then John
quick.
wants to jump in.
Okay, that's fine. But let me jump in real quick. What? Is this okay? So, Beo, like, how has...
If you're changing topics, I would be so mad.
No, I'm not changing topics, because he mentioned...
Make your point.
He mentioned Kitsune, who is Adder, from formerly from Team Unique, right? How has it actually been like having this guy on the team? Has it
changed the topic?
So when you said you weren't going to change the topic, you did change the topic.
No.
I can change it back.
He can change it back at the end. He's going to answer the question, change it back,
Okay.
and you know, if, even not looking at the stats, you know that's what's going to happen. All right.
There's no stats needed for this.
There's no stats needed for this transition, bro. Okay. See, Bayo knows what's good. I said it's the start of the podcast, but Bayo knows what's good.
You're on a laptop, bro. That's not here.
Yeah, I got really surprised by a system sound
Alright.
that came through.
Cease. He's gonna flip flop us. Okay. Let
Okay,
Bayo
let's hear
work
it.
his magic.
Yes. So Kitsune was our adder, same person. A lot of people don't know that. It's important, I guess. He came from Team Unique before, played in the Europe region, and he's from Russia and lives in Moscow, even though he's playing on our team in North America. But it was kind of rough transition at the beginning, which is kind of like, I guess an example is like we kind of struggled at the beginning of PMPL, but we really like figured it out, and he kind of helped with that. Like he kind of helped everything like click in my head, where it all just like came together and was able to help like lead us to like a huge comeback in PMPL, and then doing very well in the first 2 weeks of PMWL. So yeah, he was quite important in that, and helped like give the secret formula, the secret mayo.
Secret mayo.
The Bayo Mayo, that's what you call it.
Give me the formula.
Blank said mayo, so
Yeah, it's the mayo, bro. It's the Bayo Mayo. Boom.
I
There
mean,
you
if
go.
mayo's your thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's my crack.
God,
Bro.
you're gonna get it's like plankton in SpongeBob.
Right. The thing is that if they ever give me the formula, ravioli. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But to be fair, when I next cast you, because I know I will at some point, yeah, the Bayo Mayo is definitely coming out. I'm telling you, no one's gonna get it, but the Bayo Mayo secret sauce is there.
All right, Jason, what were you going to ask before?
Okay,
Blank
sorry,
changed the subject?
Well, I mean, now I want to ask a different question.
Okay.
That's cool, dude.
How did
do
you
it.
actually come about picking him up over anyone else? Like, why was he the one chosen?
We tried out a couple people, and then they were good players, but we ended up going with, and even became close with Adder, I guess, and became friends in China, and for the Peacekeeper Elite Championship, and so they were kind of close to talking, and then his team didn't qualify for the like CIS PMCO or something, and basically their team like disbanded, and he was looking for a new team, and he was like, I think he hit up Uneven and was like, hey, like try me out, and we kind of did, and things kind of went super well, and we liked him, so we ended up going with him.
So he came to you rather than you going to him.
Yes.
Right.
Was he originally, before the global pandemic happened, going to move to the US to play with you guys?
I don't think so.
Well, the show was going to be...
We've mentioned it.
The show was going to be produced here, right? In Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like,
it was mentioned
for practice
that
sake.
Right.
we were like, oh yeah, like he should like come, but it was only like a couple months, and it's not super easy for someone from Russia to come to the US.
Yeah.
That's a longer process than would have worked anyway. So at this point, he wouldn't have been able to anyway. Would he have wanted to? Yeah, probably. But that wasn't going to work out, and we knew that PMPL and PMWL were going to be online. And if they weren't, he would be able to travel and be with us.
Right.
Yeah.
But like with World League Online, and even PMPL, actually, the servers that we play on are super good. Like even when it was the North America server, I think he got 100 ping from Russia, which is like incredible. Yeah. Like that, so it didn't even matter. It was basically not even a factor. And now that everybody has increased ping, he has the same ping as like he has 100, and then it's increased to like whatever the number is. So he's basically playing on the same level as everybody else, which is why he did so well. And I think he was the number one fragger after week 1 or 2, and
I think he had the most kills after week 2. I think he was ahead of Carrillo. But I think that's also something that wasn't even really mentioned publicly too much, and I did have the okay to mention it, is that players' pings are inflated to try to make it equal for everyone around the world.
Yeah.
But obviously there are some extents, if you're playing from the Middle East, that, they can't
ping
make
will
your
be
ping go
above.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Second most kills after week 2.
Okay, second most.
From all of League play, he had 85 kills up to the end of week 2 with Carrillo on 91.
Well, we didn't need to look at the stats for that one because we had
Stats, Bruno.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something like that we can't go too in depth with, but it's actually really cool. I think that they did try to make it as even as possible, obviously, to not favor one team or one region more than another.
Now you see when it's even how well he has performed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
And that's kind of
surprise.
That's kind of interesting. You mentioned something there as well about like the quality of being able to play, right? Like, because it's very different playing in a remote setting. Because you guys have had the experience of being in at the global stage. So do you think it's more chill for you guys? Like, is it more laid back, and do you feel more comfortable, or is it something that you miss being at Worlds?
I definitely.
I've seen the videos, Bayo. I've seen the videos.
I don't know what he's talking about, but
I don't think we do either.
I definitely like. I don't mind playing from home because, kind of like we mentioned, it's still fair, even though it is more increased ping, but it's still fairly fair for most teams. And I like the way I play is I play laying in my bed, but like. I can't have my bed if I'm in Poland playing at the studio.
I mean, we could probably set you up with something. We get your shots in, bring some pillows.
I've always joked about I want to bring a whole mattress and sit behind the desk at Worlds or something.
Those sofas are pretty comfy, man.
If the logistics will work on that one, but
it'd be so good to get the camera coming over.
No, just get it to recline.
Oh,
like the players there, you can have your own little chair that reclines. You can kind of lay down in the chair.
Yeah. Nice. I think you could request this at this point, Bayo. I think you got the clout. I think you've got the recliner chair clout.
I've always considered bringing like at least just a pillow. I don't know. But
I think we had
those. They provided those. Regionals. Yeah, they provided those in Berlin and in one of the Indian tournaments.
Yeah, it's the South Asia regional finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least to sit on my lap because that kind of would help me play. But I don't mind playing at a desk, and but I do prefer to lay down when I play. So playing from home, I like that.
Dude, I would
obviously
love
playing at an event is amazing.
A post-match breakdown of Bayo's posture during the entire game. Just really break it down with illustration.
I change in the middle. Like I'll
get intense.
Oh, it's the end game. It's the end game. I gotta like.
You gotta correlate it, right?
He sits up. He sits up in bed.
In the beginning, just laying there chilling. They're like, "Oh, we're getting into a fight. I gotta like."
Whoa!
It's like when you're
just get up on my like elbows so I have like support.
It's like you're playing poker, right? Like you've got to tell if it's like, oh, Bayo's got one elbow out to the right. Okay, that means they're gonna go for the push. Like.
Oh jeez, that's wild. We are coming towards the end now because we're at 24 minutes in. But like Bayo, let's hear some of your predictions coming to the finals. So obviously, I know you guys definitely want to win this, and from the performance you put up in week 1 and 2, like. I would say you have a massively good running to hit first place at this point if you keep up that kind of momentum. But like, I'm interested not in your predictions towards the top side, but your dark horses. Who do you think is gonna like come out of nowhere? I know I said dark horses, and it's very easy for you to say Konina Power. Please don't.
So, a team that hadn't done very well in PMPL is Wildcard. And now they came into this, and they did come back and get second place, I believe.
Yep.
So they're maybe not necessarily a dark horse, but I don't think most people selected them to get second place in this tournament. And they kind of made a huge climb in Super Weekend 3. And I think now with a clean slate, I mean, they're probably in the best position to win if it doesn't have to be us, of course. I'm looking at them and Loops, of course, not necessarily a dark horse, but just I think those three are favored in my eyes.
Then let's go a different direction with this. Looking at all the teams that did participate, do you think there's any teams that overperformed what they should be able to, or teams that underperformed when they should have been playing at a higher level?
Underperformed would definitely be us.
I mean,
in that we
yeah.
Obviously we could have done better. There were some extenuating circumstances that
that was a 4v60
involved.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of other teams wanting to make sure that we didn't make it to the Super Weekend. So That's unfortunate, but we're not. We're not too salty about it. It's very important that like we just focus on like going into the finals and
for sure.
doing well there. The only problem is like the concern that I see about that is just kind of like I guess like momentum as well. Like everybody's kind of talked about like the entire time we were playing. It's like, oh, they're keeping like this momentum rolling and we're doing so well. And I mean that's a very important thing in like sports and esports is that like, you're feeling really good and are always going to be playing your best when you like have momentum and you've been doing well so far. So I mean now we have had a break and it's probably stopped because we haven't played like any PMWL games recently. So hopefully we can pick up where we left off, and if not, hopefully we can like get into it after day one. If we don't have like an amazing day, that we can pick it up and do well and win.
Yeah, for sure.
I wanna go into one more thing because we haven't really been able to talk about this with any teams yet. I love talking about the idea of like when you hit this reset, or for instance, if you were Frag Machines or Headquarters during the last Super Weekend, like what do you do in these first couple games? Do you try to go like crazy to have like a nice little lead? Do you just play your own normal style to try to build up the consecutive points? Do you play for placements? Like the whole idea of talking about Frag Machines was, I mean, they have to catch up like 100 points, so they have to go crazy this entire time. I'm just curious, like, what's your thoughts and maybe Cloud9's thoughts going into this? Are you just going to look for that standard play, or do you going to try to edge out some extra points for that little bit of buffer room in the beginning?
Our standard style of play right now, I mean, if we can replicate any of the weekends of PMWL, then we're going to do amazing. That's what I'm looking to do. I don't want to change anything right now unless we have to. And there's some major change that has to like go into like our play and strategy. Other than that, I'm just looking to do the same thing and get a bunch of wins.
Hell yeah.
Bunch of wins. I love that. That's a t-shirt.
Yeah,
not
not just one or two. I wanted like we need at least 3 or 4. There's nobody's going to win that tournament. Nobody's going to win the finals without 3 or 4 plus wins.
All right, man.
The team that wins will have that.
And you don't even need to look at the stats to know that.
Yeah. We don't even need the stats to get that. I mean, as long as you're piling high that Bayo Mayo, things are gonna be absolutely fine.
That sounds so wrong, though.
Oh man,
it's all gonna be good. Don't worry.
It's a merch line.
Consistently won two games on each day that we have a win. So if we get a win, like day one, game one, I mean, there's more coming.
So you're saying if you get a win on day one, game one, it's time to watch out. Like, because you guys, you're going to take the first
There's going to be
spot.
at least one more win that day.
I love the confidence.
Right, awesome.
I want to give you a chance while we do finish up here. Like, do you have any shout outs to anyone? Obviously, tell people where they can find you or follow you.
I'm pretty much, my handle on everything, I think, is Beowulf_iOS. So you can follow me on pretty much any social platform that's at that. And, I mean, I want to, I guess, kind of just give a shout out to you guys for having me on. And then my team, and hopefully that they can like rally together and we all can play super well.
Hashtag C9 win.
I know. Is there anything you want to say to your fans before we head out?
Oh yes, the C9 win spam in the chat. I mean, we see it every time, and we love everybody that does that. Whenever we're doing well, it's just like there's a wall in the Twitch chat.
Yes,
and, it's very heartwarming. Thank you.
Awesome.
Right. So you heard it here first. Keep spamming those clouds. We'll
and those nines.
And the nines. Yeah. The nines as well. They're equally important.
The nines are the clouds.
All right, final question. What's your favorite type of cloud?
It's a hard question, bro.
Are you like the real names of the clouds like in the sky?
do you know a name of a cloud?
He's never watched Pirates of the Caribbean.
I do know a couple of clouds.
All right, what's your favorite cloud?
Okay. I think they're called like cirrus clouds, like
cirrus, the high and wispy ones.
Yes, so we're gonna that's gonna be us on the leaderboard.
That's gonna be the vision that everyone else has them. It's the Cirrus Cloud 9. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, Bayo, thank you again very much for your time. We'll let you go from this one, and obviously, big shout out to everyone watching the show. It's our first one. Hopefully, you're going to be doing quite a bit more in the future. You can obviously follow us on Instagram at 6X Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter as well at 6S Podcast. Make sure to check out Bayo and of course Ocean as well, who was on the show earlier on today. So that's going to do it here. I think we're probably going to go talk with Bayo after this and set up a merch line for some Bayo Mayo.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got any more
Thank you guys
ideas?
so
Hit
much.
them out. Hit us our way. Yeah. Cheers, Beau. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you, man. And we'll catch you guys later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.